We are live. I am Karen Rae. This is Fave Lifestyles, and I am here tonight with Sharon Purcell. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity, the invitation to be here with your group.
Yes, well, I'm so excited. We're going to be talking tonight about finding your purpose in your life and work. And I know this is a subject that is close to my heart and to a lot of the ladies here at Fave Lifestyles. And so I'm just going to read your bio so the ladies can get to know you a little bit, and then we'll start chatting.
Thanks so much, Karen.
Yeah. So Sharon has 25 plus years experience in various sales, marketing, and operation roles, working for both Fortune 50 companies such as GE and healthcare startups. She has held leadership roles across multiple industries and has a track record of driving business transformation and growth in a highly competitive markets. While at GE, she founded the GE Women's Network, a business organization with the mission of fostering professional development of female talent to attract, advance, and retain successful women throughout the company. As a leader in the network, she helped fuel its growth, expanding the organization to 50,000 members globally. 10 years after she co-founded and led in this organization, GE had reached the point where female leaders were responsible for generating $50 billion in revenue. That is amazing. Sharon is enormously proud to have been part of such a groundbreaking women's empowerment. Sharon believes in this work was a vital stepping stone in the path of using her voice to change lives and strengthen communities. Her love of people and passion for leadership led her down a path of diverse career opportunities, many of which pointed to her toward her calling to make meaningful difference in people's lives. Her expertise lies not only in her ability to translate company vision into compelling value-based messaging, but also as an inspiring leader, passionate public speaker, and storyteller. Also, oh my goodness, Sharon has since dedicated her focus to using her voice to elevate women to positions of power and leadership to change the world. Sharon, yay!
That was a lot.
that was a bit, but it gives us a great little snapshot of where you have come from. And so let's tell a little bit about where you are now.
So as you alluded to in my bio, I've probably the first 2/3 of my career really were spent working in big corporate America, jobs, big companies, large organizations. And then the last third of my career, I have been focused on finding companies that are typically they're startups that are looking to make a meaningful difference in people's lives and do meaningful work. So I have been since I moved to Seattle 10 years ago, I have worked for several healthcare startups and early stage companies doing just that. And as you can imagine, during the pandemic, when the world kind of shut down, you can imagine what it's like for an early stage company to try to raise funds, the next round of funding. So that just presented itself to me as an opportunity to slow down, and that stuff is not off the table, but it's just kind of in a holding pattern. And I've sought out opportunities to do some consulting work and some project work for companies that are looking to make a meaningful difference. And one of the things that I have done for the last 3 years is lead Forward, which is a women's group that we're going to talk about later this evening. And that is the most incredibly fulfilling and rewarding work that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's really great. We're having some technical issues here. Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting a little bit of feedback. So Forward, so tell us just briefly what Forward is, because I haven't had the opportunity to experience that, and it's a really great organization for women.
Well, thanks for asking about it, Karen. I am really passionate about it. It's such a privilege and honor for me to be able to lead the Seattle chapter of Forward, which is a national organization. It's a community really of Christian women in the workplace. And it's different. It's unique from a lot of other professional women's groups that are out there. Yes, we are professionals. We are business women who, in doing life together, might end up doing business together, but business is not our focus. We are a sisterhood of Christian working women who come together to learn from each other, and we look to the Word for guidance on issues that we all face in our personal and professional lives. And the women in this group, Forward Women, they are they're passionate, they're authentic, they are faithful, like-minded women who encourage, support, and equip one another to become all who God created us to be. And what I love about it is this is a place where women can come and be their true, authentic selves and strip away those figurative masks, not the literal masks that we're all wearing now, but strip away those figurative masks that we often have to wear out in the world, and tear down those walls that divide us out there and share our faith in a safe and confidential environment. And much like Fave Lifestyles, Karen, we do life together, lifting each other up and cheering each other on in all aspects of our lives. So Forward, it's spelled the number 4, WORD for the word. And we meet the first Thursday of every month. We gather over potluck dinner and share some food and some wine and conversations and stories and hugs and laughs. And every once in a while, Karen, there are some tears shed because we're being authentic and being genuine, but they are therapeutic and cleansing tears that we make sure before you leave, those tears are turned to laughs. So we cry until we laugh. Sometimes we laugh until we cry, or even wet our pants. Good girl time when you get together. And we would just love to invite everyone to come check us out.
Yes, and we'll be putting the information for Forward in the comments as well. And so that is, like I said, I had the opportunity to visit with your group and your community, and that is one of the things that I noticed, is that it was authentic, it was support, and it was just very positive. And just seeing the women lift each other up is really inspiring. So yeah, it's wonderful. And we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that at the end here too. But let's talk a little bit on our topic tonight about our purpose, because I know that's on the hearts of lots of women. And so maybe there's women right now who are seeking to find their purpose, and maybe wondering if they've missed their calling, or maybe if they're too old or too far into their careers, or in a place where they can't find their purpose. So so let's talk a little bit about purpose, if you will.
Yeah, I think we probably all have had those days, or some perhaps may be in a season of feeling purposeless, and it doesn't feel good to wake up feeling that way. I mean, it's incredibly frustrating, especially when you look around at your friends and your coworkers, and you see that they are living passionate and engaged and meaningful lives. You see that they have deep relationships and rewarding careers, and this drive and sense of direction that just gets them to hop out of bed in the morning with a spring in their step, even during these strange times that are the strangest that any of us have ever experienced. And if any of your women are among that group who aren't quite sure of what your purpose is, or you're struggling to find it right now because you're caught up in this pandemic paralysis, you know how intimidating it can be to look your future in the eye. And you might be asking some of those questions that you referred to, like, have I missed it? Have I missed my calling? Or since I'm over 40, is it too late to discover my purpose?
Right. And a lot of these women are in a place of transition.
Mhm.
Because some of them are thinking, okay, well, I've been working corporate America. Now I want to have some, I want to have some meaning to my life. I want to make a difference now. I've heard women say that.
Right.
So how would you address those ladies in those transition places where maybe they're now looking to find their purpose?
Well, I think, first of all, the answer is it's never too late. It is never too late to discover your purpose or find your calling. And there are lots of stories, Karen, out there about plenty of people, success stories that discovered their purpose later in life. And I could mention the Ray Krocs of the world or the Harlan Sanders, but since I love to shine a light on women, I want to point out a few that you probably all know of. Mary Kay Ash. Mary Kay Ash is the woman who founded the now $4 billion beauty brand called Mary Kay Cosmetics. She was a stay-at-home mother, and she was a single mom, and she didn't have any experience in business, and she started that company at the age of 45. And then there's Julia Child, for all of you foodies out there. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Julia Child, she released her first cookbook that launched her amazing cooking career at the age of 50. And let's not forget about Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa won the Nobel Peace Prize when she was 69. So as a Christian, I believe and I know in my heart that God created each of us individually and beautifully and fiercely with a specific and personal and unique plan for our lives. And when we think about these questions, or when we're pondering what our purpose is, I don't think there's any better place to look for answers than from the perspective of our Creator. And from my faith, I know that God has great things in store for you, for all of us. Mm-hmm. So if you're unsure about what your purpose is and you're trying to discover it, I have an exercise that I think that can really help people get the juices flowing and be creative. You want to hear some steps about that?
Please do. Yeah.
So those steps are really three steps of introspection, where you're going to be examining your past, your present, and your future. So the first thing to do is to, and I want you to take this seriously. If this is something that you're really questioning and you're unsure about, document the answers to these questions. Write them down as if you're journaling. So the first step is to reflect on your past. And I think you'll see when you reflect on your past that your purpose has been with you since the day you were born. I mean, probably, when you were a little girl, you acted out your purpose by playing teacher or doctor, or maybe you started your first business as an entrepreneur by setting up that lemonade stand or selling Girl Scout cookies. Maybe you cultivated a garden and nurtured it. And then when you were growing up, maybe you had a passion for the arts, or you had a keen interest in science, or you found joy and fulfillment when you were serving others. So, as you're examining your past, look for those times when you were the most fulfilled. And what were you doing when you were the most fulfilled, and who were you serving? And I think you'll find that even the seemingly most insignificant events can take on a whole new meaning when you're looking at it through this lens. Mm-hmm. And then second step really is to examine your future. And when you your present, because when you look at your present, that actually points to your purpose as well. So I want you to really dig deep into these questions and again, record your answers. So what gives you joy? And what energizes you? And I see you nodding your head, Karen, because I know you've gone through this journey of self-discovery and introspection and self-reflection in the last few years yourself. And so I can see in you that you're like, yes, sister, that's exactly what we're talking about. But so what brings you joy? What activities bring you joy? And what energizes you? And what do people compliment you on or come to you for advice about? Also, think about the roles and tasks that come easily to you that you can do in your sleep, and also the ones that cause frustration. Because, it's just as important for you to know what you don't want to do than it is to know what you do. And so this last question is really an interesting one. That is, what are you doing right now that you wish you hadn't said yes to? We're pleasers. And so we like saying yes, right? Do you have some of those things, Karen, that you've said yes to, that you were like, oh man, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, so currently I don't, because I'm getting better at it and identifying those things. But yes, I'm a people pleaser. I like to, make things wonderful for everyone. And so, yeah, it's really easy to say yes to things. It's
really easy to say yes.
You can do, but it's just another thing on your plate.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So then the third piece, the third and very, very important piece to understanding your purpose is to cast a vision, to envision your future. And this is a time to cast that vision without any limitations. Don't worry about the how, just think about where you want to go. Where would you like to be, both personally and professionally, in the next year? And then take it out a step further. Where do you want to be personally and professionally in the next 5 years, the next 10 years? And then you want to think about, what it is that you want to be known for at the end of your days. And this is an interesting question. I want the women tuning in to go to your heart. Don't think with your brain at this point, because this question, as we age, our brain, it's like, when you're young, you're invincible and you're fearless. And then as we age, we start to build boundaries and set limitations for our lives. So just disregard your brain at the moment when you're having this conversation with yourself and being introspective, and think from your heart. And the question is, if there were no obstacles and unlimited resources, and you knew you would not fail, what would you do? And then after you've done this exercise and you've gone through all 3 steps, you've documented this, lay those pieces of paper out, print them off of your computer. If you weren't journaling them, print them off, and then look for consistencies and common threads that are running through the different stages of your life. And then identify what stands out when you think about what you want to do in the future and who you want to impact. What are the words and phrases that are related to one another and that stand out? And then take those words and phrases that are the most meaningful to you and bring them together in a statement. And this is your life purpose statement. And it should reveal to you what your God-given purpose is. And it doesn't have to be long. I mean, it really can be quite simple. The key is that it stirs your soul and it ignites you and it lights your fire. So it could be as simple as, my purpose is to elevate other women. Or my purpose, I think of you, Karen, when I say that, I know that that's your calling. Or my purpose is to bring healing to others, or it's to bring joy into people's lives or connect people. So it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be long. And then remember, your purpose isn't your career. And it doesn't end when your kids fly the coop, when they go off to college, they leave the house. And your purpose isn't found in your accomplishments or your titles or your possessions. All that stuff is temporary.
So I think a lot of people tie that purpose into their career or to, their lifestyle or whatever.
You're exactly right. And I think that's what stumped a lot of us when the pandemic hit, right? Because all of a sudden that was taken away from a lot of us. A lot of us became unemployed, or we were laid off, or you changed, something happened that took that title away from you. And I personally had an experience like that when I left big corporate America. I left to follow my dream, and I felt a tugging in my heart and an emptiness. What meaningful difference was I making in people's lives? And then all of a sudden I was out there in the cold world, and it was jarring to me to no longer have that title or that company name behind me. So that's when we really have to, strip ourselves bare and look at who we truly are in our souls. And the purpose, our purpose, lies deep within the why of our actions, and it manifests itself through our character and through our strong convictions. And there's another quote. There's a quote from, those awesome soft pretzels that you get at the airport.
Oh, yeah.
In the mall. Yeah, the ones that are like intoxicating and make you want to break your diet. Ann Byler is she is the founder of Annie Ann's Soft Pretzels. And she said, "Finding your purpose is the toughest task you will ever undertake, but it will make all other tasks in your life easier and more meaningful." And, she's not saying that this is, easy work, but I can promise you two things. Number one is it's never too late. And number two is it's so worth it when you find your purpose. And really understanding your why. When you know your why, it not only makes it a lot easier to attract the right people and circumstances and resources for you to fulfill that purpose, but it also brings so much more depth and meaning to our lives. And there's one more quote that I wanted to wrap up with that comes from a theologian whose name is Frederick Buechner. And he says this, he says, "The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet." So I pose that question to Faith Lifestyles women. Where does your deep hunger reside? Where is your deep gladness found? Or let me rephrase that. Where do you see the world's deep hunger, and where is your deep gladness found? What lights your fire and makes you feel alive? That is where you'll find your purpose. I think, Karen, so many people think that purpose is equal to your job.
Yeah.
Or that purpose is your title. It's not. And we have been misinformed for, a lot of our lives. And I think it's probably because I come from a faith-filled perspective, because I know that, God didn't create titles and jobs and things like that. He created beautiful creations that were meant to be part of this magnificent tapestry that we call the universe. And you are here for a reason. You're on this planet for a reason, and you have purpose.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Sharon, for sharing that with us. I see we have a question here from one of the ladies, and it says, it's from Katie, and she says, "Should women focus on things that they're good at or things that they're passionate about?"
Well, we hope that those two things occur simultaneously, that we're good at and we're passionate at the same time. The things that you're good at, a lot of times, like when you're going through this exercise, capture your accomplishments also, because you're thinking about the times that you were the most fulfilled.
Yeah.
And some of those questions also were, what are the tasks and activities that come easily to you? And you should see some crossover I mean, certainly your purpose is really what you want to be remembered for at the end of your day, end of your days. And so, you know, when you're at the end of your life and you look back, do you want to look at the list of all the things that you were good at that you could just check off your list? Or are you going to look at the things that made an impact on others and that were the most rewarding? So I say, go for your passion, girl. Go for it. Go for the things that you're passionate about, because they say that if you find, you know, what you're passionate about, you never work a day in your life.
Right. That is so awesome. So that is a great question. So for women, if they want to write down, what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, me?
No, or just I mean, any of the ladies who are watching that.
Right.
That is also to add to your steps there. What do you want to be remembered for? You know, because that's a good insight too to what how you're thinking about what brings you joy too.
That's right. At the end of your days, what do you want people to remember you about or for? Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, so wonderful, Sharon. Thank you for coming in and joining us today. So let's just end just real quickly again how the ladies can connect with you with Forward, and what does it actually look like during this time? Are you able to gather, or is
it? So to answer your first question, you can email me directly to get connected. At Seattle@forwardwomen.org. And remember, that's the number 4, WORD, Seattle@forwardwomen.org. And you also can go to the website that is the website for the national organization. It's forwardwomen.org. But then you can search for a local community and you'll see Seattle on that list under the communities tab. And then in response to your question about are we able to gather, we absolutely love gathering in person. And God created us for community. And right now, you know, the enemy just loves the isolation and division. That's when he works on us, when he makes us doubt ourselves and makes us withdraw. So we encourage women to continue with their groups, their clubs, their activities where they are in community. And with Forward, since we typically meet the first Thursday of the month over potluck dinner, it certainly came to a screeching halt in April. And we started doing Zoom calls. And, you know, I think everybody just loved the novelty of Zoom back in early April. And it's like, woohoo, this is fun. And we can do, you know, virtual happy hours, and everybody bring your dinner and your glass of wine or your, you know, adult beverage with you. But after 2 months of doing that, it kind of wore everybody out because you were doing it all day for your job. And then at the end of the day, the last thing you wanted to do was go back to your computer for more screen time. So we did that for April and May. And then we decided when the mandates lifted somewhat and became more flexible for meeting in public spaces, we started gathering. We decided, let's do picnic in the park, and everybody bring your lawn chair and your packed lunch and your mask, and we will just sit 6 feet apart and continue, because community is so important. And in times of chaos, we need community and support from each other to give us comfort and to give us hope. So we are meeting next month. October 1st is our October meeting, and we have an awesome church in North Seattle that's Emmanuel Church, and they're going to let us meet in their sanctuary. And we've also done that at Doxa Church last month, where they were so cool about it. They had a table set up where they took your temperature when you got there, and everybody wore their masks, and we distanced, and we absolutely pulled it off. So there are ways to do it that are meaningful. And I think people are now longing for a return for that in-person connection. Because let's face it, Karen, we feed off of the energy of others, not this flat surface that, you know, you can't feel someone's, you know, energy or their aura. So
Right.
we're going to do that. We're going to, as long as they'll let us, we're going to keep meeting in public.
Yes, so wonderful. I'm glad you're be able to connect women together and just to inspire them and lift them up. So thank you so much for coming and joining me on Fave Lifestyles tonight. And just really appreciate you coming and giving us some inspiration.
Karen, I was delighted. It was my pleasure. And the gift was for me. So thank you for inviting me.
Okay, well, we'll see you next time at Fave Lifestyles.
All
Good night,
right.
everyone.
Thanks.